welcome back everyone. I hope you all doing good, having a great day. Today we are ranking all 2-star legendary gems inside Diablo Immortal. I will have a tier list on your screen, and for some of the gems I will bring up the gem section. I know most of the gems what they do, but for some gems I will be looking here what they are giving us for like Fulver Burden. This is one gem that I have never used because this is for the summons. And so let's go dive into a tier list. There we go. You can see all the 15 gems available currently right now inside the Diablo Immortal. And this is going to be my personal opinion of how I feel about these 2-star legendary gems inside Diablo Immortal. And mind you, I have tested more than 70% of these gems on my channel already, how they perform in PvE and PvP, and so I kind of already know how I will be ranking them here. But without any further ado, let's start this tier list with our strongest gem, that is going to be the Fervent Fang. Fervent Fang for me is going to be S tier for every single class. It's really easy to stack the damage up with the Fervent Fang, and you don't need any damage over time or any conditions to activate or trigger this gem, and it will be working against every single target without any cooldowns. And it also increase the damage against bosses and elites, so in PvE is a freaking fantastic gem. And the next gem that I will be ranking here is going to be the Power and Command. This gem will be going into A tier. The reason for that is some of the builds are not using the primary attacks, especially for some classes. Demon Hunter, this gem is going to be S tier. Demon Hunter uses the skills and the primary all the time, but other classes, they don't heavily rely on the primary, and when the primary buff will be up, you might not be getting the most benefit out of the Power and Command. So this is how I will rate Power and Command. And the next gem that we are ranking here is going to be the Bloody Reach, again going in A tier for me, because most of the time you are never fighting enemies around 6 or 8 yards and mostly stay between 4 yards, and so you won't be able to get the most damage out of this gem. And especially if you are a melee class, then this is going to be somewhat B or even C. So that is why this gem is going A tier for the ranged classes, and this is how I feel about it. Next gem that we are ranking here is going to be another really solid gem, that is the Abiding Curse. Abiding Curse for me is going to be going in A tier 2. The reason is very simple. You can curse the enemy, it will reduce their movement speed, which is really good crowd control effect, and once they are being cursed, you will deal more damage to them. The only downside to this gem is it has a 20-second cooldown, and it doesn't work versus bosses, and that is why it is going in A tier. I would actually somewhat put this in B because of the 20-second cooldown, and yeah, that is how I feel about it now that we have that 20-second cooldown on the gem. And next gem will be the Lightning Core. Nowadays this gem is getting a bit better, but still heavily rely on moving a lot. If you move a lot and use your primary a lot, then this gem will charge up a lot faster. It is going to be much better for Demon Hunter, but for most classes this gem is somewhat B tier. Still, it takes some time to charge up before you hit enemies with that lightning damage, and so I will be putting it in B tier. Next gem is going to be really strong, a new gem, Mother Lament. We are going to put this in D tier. Just kidding, this is going straight in S tier. This gem, in my opinion, is much better even compared to Resonance. Resonance gives you that flat damage increase, but you can increase or enhance that resonance with some critical headshots. You can make your base damage do such a high damage with this mother lament. Every 20 seconds this will trigger, and once it ends, it can also apply a damage over time bleed effect on the enemy, which is another W in my opinion. It can trigger other gems like the pain claps. That is again really solid gem, and so this gem is going straight in S tier. Freaking fantastic gem. If you have not tried it, then you should, because even now whales are using this gem in PvP. They are choosing this gem over resonance, and that tells that even they know this gem is A tier, and so they decide to use it in the slot. So that is where the mother lament is going. Our next gem is going to be the follower burden. Like I said, this gem is working for the summoners, and even necromancer won't be using this. They don't rely heavily on the summoners in PvP, and once they go and do some CC builds, this gem is going to be basically useless. And other than the necromancer, this gem is kinda useless anyhow, and not worth socketing in one of your slots on the gear, in my opinion. And that is how I will rate. I will actually put this in D tier. We need some of these gems, which is just not usable in my opinion. Alright, so the next gem is going to be the Unity Crystal. Each member around you will reduce some damage you take and increase somewhat damage you do. Again, not all that great even in PvP, and this is how I will rate it. We'll just put it in D tier and move on to the next gem. That is going to be our next S tier gem. I think you guys can guess it. That is going to be being claps. Freaking fantastic gem, gives you flat damage increase when you apply a damage over time, and easily one of the best gems. It can go toe to toe with a Foreman Fang, and highly recommended gem in all builds. There are plenty of ways to trigger this gem now inside the game. You can get bleeding, you can get poison, or you can get some fire effects, and this gem is going to do some insane damage, and that is where the pain collapse is going. And next gem is going to be the new one, Iron Bane. Now this gem for me is a B tier gem. The gem itself is really good, but heavily rely on channeling skill. So you have to come up with a build that is very channeling focused. Barbarian can go with the Wild Wind build. Wizard can go with the Disintegrate, Ray of Frost, something like that. And this gem is going to do some decent damage. And this is how I feel about the Iron Bane here. And now that we are left with 5 gems, I will go through them a bit quicker. The next gem is going to be Cut Throat. I believe you deal more damage if you are hitting enemies from behind, and that in my opinion is just not great unless you want to keep this gem for some raid bosses so you can do some more critical and some more damage. But again, this is D tier gem in my opinion. Mother Lament is just overall much better. And then we have a Battle Guard that decrease the damage in melee, and you can move unhinged through enemy if your life is, I believe, 15% or below. And that is how I feel about the Battle Guard. And the next gem is going to be the Hungerer. I will put that in C tier. It will heal you after you defeat the enemy based on some of your base damage, and it can only trigger every 20 seconds, and it also increase some of your attack speed. None of that is really good, and I will put that in C tier. And next gem is going to be Velocity Shot. I believe that is the name. Every time you defeat enemy, every 6 seconds you defeat the enemy, they will blow up, and once they are dead, it will also increase some of your damage for few seconds. So this is how I will rate it. And the next gem is Car something, butchering the name, but this is where I will put this. It blinds the enemies when they attack you, stun them, and after that, once they are stunned, it will increase some of the damage that you will do, which in my opinion is not all that great. As a small player, you don't want to get hit, but this is a defensive gem. If you want some defense, you can go with this. Enemy, if someone attack you, they can end up losing all control, and you will do some more damage to them. And this is how I feel about all 15 2-star legendary gems inside the game. Let me know in the comment section down below what you would change in this tier list. Again, this was just my personal opinion after testing most of these gems on the channel already. I'll see you guys in the next one. Till then, as always, have fun and take care, guys.